Nice car. Money! Before the globalists ban fossil fuels, you need to drive this car straight away.
What car is that?
It's a Rover 75, the best Rover ever made, in all time, ever. Let's go!
You are becoming a bloody nuisance. Don't bother me after this.
Come on! Well, Monty, you're driving Rover's flagship executive V6 powerhouse.
Lovely.
Feel free to give it some beans.
I would love to, but there's a car in front of me.
It's a pretty smooth old engine though.
Yeah, it's driving nice.
Yeah, I've had a go myself and I'm thinking, wow, oh, what a nice engine. And the gearbox, it changes gear perfectly.
Yeah.
They
Very good.
They say this was Rover's finest hour, the best car they ever built, the Rover 75.
Brilliant.
However, unfortunately, at the time, Rover was being managed by BMW. And after this car was launched, and after certain comments by a chief executive from BMW, they never sold very well. In fact, they sold absolutely disastrously. They didn't even sell half the amount of cars they were meant to sell. And of course, after that, their future was sealed. They sold the company, and that was the end of Rover.
Wow.
But what a shame, because wow, what a car.
Yeah.
It's got some class to it, I must say. Are you enjoying it?
I am. It's very fast.
I hope you're enjoying that heated seat as well.
I haven't switched it on actually.
Oh, okay.
What a shame. It's needed at this time of the year.
And you know what? We're back at car sales so quick.
Yep.
So the last thing is, Monica, you've now worn the Rover 75 t-shirt.
Yay.
Tick it off your to-do list.
I will do.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Hello everyone. I've got a lovely Rover 75 here today. It was on our sales lot and it's just been sold. It's sat about 6 months actually, and the Americans come along and bought it. I guess the Americans kind of like these British cars. I'm thinking to myself, I used to work for Rover many years ago, but I was long gone by the time the 75 came out. But I do remember the 800s and the 600s, which this replaced. And I quite like the Rover 600s. They weren't a bad looking car. In fact, the Rover 600 was probably just a tiny bit smaller than this. However, I have never drove a 75. I've not even looked around one properly until today, that is. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I have a little walk around this car and look inside it and go underneath it and all that like I like to do? Because it's kind of interesting. I mean, this is an old car. This is an X-plate, so it's what, 2000, 2001? I did take it up the road though, and this is the 2.5 V6 engine. And I'll tell you something, for quite a size, well, fair sized car, executive car, because that's what it was. These were supposed to be executive cars. It goes well. That engine sort of like shifts. I was quite impressed with it. So anyway, let's have a look around this Rover car and I'll give you my opinion whether I think it's any good or not, or what I like and what I don't like. I know it's an old car, but because I've never sort of like properly looked at one, I don't really know much about them, to be honest with you. So this will be interesting. Let's have a quick walk around. Well, they've certainly dropped the more boxier look of the 600 series and gone for this more curved shape. I do like these headlights with that straight edge along the top, and then they sweep around, and the chrome grille just seems to fit. Rover 75 on top of that Viking ship emblem. Little chrome inserts on the front of the bumper corners. Very nice touches. In fact, throughout this car, there does seem to be a chrome theme going on. Look at them door mirrors. Well, I have to say though, this one's got some ripples in it, like air bubbles. I know it's only plastic chrome though, but look at these. There's some very snazzy door handles with chrome strips running all the way down to the front and the back. Whoever designed this Rover should have a shake on the hand, because they haven't done a bad job really. It is a very nice looking car, and you've got to remember this was back in 2000, or I believe 1998 this was launched. Anyway, let's look at the driver's door panel. Nice little touches, chrome inserts around your locking button, inner door handle pull, chrome theme again. Window switch pack, electric mirrors, and they're heated mirrors by the way. I'm not too sure about that, the actual black design. I would have thought that would have been better if they had chrome in there, chrome switches. It looks a bit bland if you know what I mean. But them door panels, they are pretty futuristic looking. Look at that, little tweeter speaker in your door mirror cover. Nice Rover kick plate there. Look at those leather seats. Oh, they look very comfortable. Fully electric and heated by the way. Only thing is, if you notice, there's no little perforation holes in the leather. In the summertime, if it's hot and you're wearing shorts, you can kind of sweat on the leather, and it's nice to have them perforation holes so your skin can breathe. Anyway, let's have a sit down. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the seat as far back as it will possibly go. Yes, just to show how much legroom. I'm pretty short anyway, but if I'm sat in here, my feet are just touching the pedals at full stretch. So there's plenty of room for a very tall driver to be in here. Leather steering wheel, all colour coded, horn buttons in the middle of your steering wheel. That instrument pack looks very, very classy, I have to say. I like it. It's like distinguished, if you know what I mean. Prestige, that's the word I'm looking for. Headlight switch. You've got headlights you can raise up and down with a little thumbnail there. Front and rear fog lamps. Dash dimmer. You know, the whole face here, it looks very high class. It's only plastic. I'm not sure if that's walnut. It looks a bit dark. Someone will have to tell me what that is, what type of wood that's supposed to resemble. But it does look very high class, very chic. And that little clock, that's a nice little touch. The radio, however, it takes cassette tapes. I cannot even remember the last time I saw a cassette tape, but there again, this was back in 2001. But the whole centre console, the radio, your heater controls, they've all got nice big buttons, but it's very bland, very basic. I'm not too sure about that. Automatic gearbox, leather gear knob. You also get a leather handbrake handle, central locking, central armrest. If I lift that up, you've got lots of little slots in there for your cassette tapes. Nice big chrome handle on your glove box. Look at that motion where that glove box comes down, nice and smooth. There's a fair old bit of room inside there. Passenger side airbag. Oh, lovely, very nice. And there's your heated seat buttons. Keep your butt warm in the cold weather. It's very nice. Futuristic interior mirror. Oh dear, there's a problem. The old headlining is starting to sag. Quite a common problem on various cars. There's not a lot you can do about that. But yeah, I'm liking it. And as I've never really had anything to do with one of these cars, it's actually been nice to go out for a drive. Right, I think we'll work our way around. Oh dear, the doors are locked. That'll help. That'll help. I'll tell you something, there's some chunky old doors. Oh, they sound okay. They feel weighty, if you know what I mean. They feel heavy, like they've got some structure to them. Oh, you've got a central armrest. That's nice. And you've got cup holders in it. And I'll tell you what, since I've got that front seat all the way back, I can still sit in the back. I'm not really cramped at all. So it just goes to show there's a lot of leg room in here. And also, my head is like fair way off the headlining. So there's plenty of headroom too. But there again, this is supposed to be a large executive car. Very cool. Oh, one thing, let me open the boot, sorry. Push the old button. Look at that chrome Rover. My God, I'll tell you what, you'd certainly fit your set of golf clubs in there. It's a bit dark, but there's loads of room in that trunk. You notice the rear window sort of like raised up. Nice big saloon. It's cool. You've got bars up here, so I'm sure you can fit a roof rack on these. Not that you'd want to, but there you go, you can do. In the passenger, you've also got passenger front seat is fully electric. How cool is that? And the back goes down. Nice. Okay, oh, one other thing. Look at this. How cool is that? For your passenger. You can put your McDonald's milkshake in that. I do like it, I have to say. For a Rover, I do like it. I think what we should do is pop the hood and have a look at the engine. Nice. Rover V6 24 valve quad cam. This is the KV6 engine. It's 177 brake horsepower, 2.5 litre. I can't tell you a whole lot about it, but I believe this is Rover's own engine. They built it themselves to replace the Japanese versions that they used to take from the Hondas and put in the old Rover 800 series. What I can say is that they've got cam belts. They've got a cam belt here, a main cam belt, but what you might not know is at the back of the engine, they've got two separate cam belts to connect the other two camshafts together. So if you have to do a camshaft drive belt replacement, be prepared for a good day's work. I have heard, however, from people who have owned these cars with these engines, they say they're bulletproof. They're smooth as silk, they're lovely engines, they hardly ever go wrong, and they drive impeccably. So that's a good thing, especially on Rover's part. They haven't been the most reliable cars over the years, but to have an engine like that, wow. I have drove this car up the road, and I must say, it drives nice, and that's a nice engine. Okay, let's check the underside out. I'll start off at the driver's front. Up there we go, straight away we have a welded plate there, which doesn't come as much of a surprise. I mean, British Leyland never were very good when it came to the metal they used to build their cars. But there you go, it is what it is. But someone at least has welded a plate on it. It looks okay, it's been undersealed. We'll leave it at that. That's a rather large track rod end, front drive shafts, lower suspension arm. It all looks pretty familiar. McPherson strut front suspension. You'll notice you have a big subframe at the front here, as most cars do today anyway. Anti-roll bar drop links. I guess these are all components that will wear out. Brake calipers. There's a little boot missing off that cover there. There should be a cap in there to keep the boot from getting dirty. I mean, to stop the bolt in there from getting dirty. It's a slider. But yeah, it's got new brake pads at the front though. Brand new oil and filter been put in this engine because it's just been serviced. Aluminium sump. And there's our radiator. The fan is actually on the front of this radiator as opposed to a lot of them are sort of like at the back. There's our exhaust manifold, which actually there's two exhaust manifolds in this car. The second one comes off this pipe here and goes up the top of the engine there. Automatic gearbox, which I have to say, the gear changes on this box have been like lovely, really nice and smooth. There's not a lot I can really say at the minute. Everything seems to be in order. I should imagine them bushes at the back of the front lower arms do get knocked out. But I can't really see much wrong. All the drive shaft CV boots are in one piece. Brake hoses, from what I can see, look pretty good. So I'll carry on walking around. I can see that the passenger side outer sill has been undersealed. So I should think there's probably a bit more corrosion there that's been covered up. Catalytic converter. The front brake pipes, these brake pipes that run from the front to rear, they've been replaced. They are not the original ones. I believe on many Rovers it was a common trait for the brake pipes to wear out quite quickly or get very rusty. It's quite a flat floor pan under here. Yeah, you see where them pipes cross over. That wouldn't have been done like that in the factory. And more welded plates at the back of the driver's sill. Oh yes, someone certainly spent some time welding this up. In fact, let's come outside and have a look on the outside of the sill. Yeah, it's all been undersealed very nicely actually. It looks quite in place, if you know what I mean. It's not a bad job. I do like that chrome strip there. And the little badge at the bottom, 2.5 litre, nice little touch. Yeah, nah, I mean, that would pass an MOT. You can see that there's a plate under there, but it's all been covered over nicely. So I guess for the age of the car, you can kind of appreciate it. Okay, we shall carry on. Look at that great big rear suspension trailing arm. Flipping Ada. You've got like wishbone suspension at the back with coil springs. Rather rusty, but no doubt pretty solid still. A rear anti-roll bar drop link. Anti-roll bar, rear shock absorbers. There's your charcoal canister to soak up the excess fuel for your catalytic converter. ABS brakes all round. I'll tell you something, I can't really see much wrong. Yeah, that's nice. that was probably one of their first thoughts, to put a great big towing eye on it. No, it's looking very good. As far as corrosion goes, I mean, yeah, we've got surface rust over the suspension components and chassis and that, but I mean, it's pretty mild. And yeah, more extensive welding on the passenger side rear sill. But, you know, apart from that, the actual floor pan itself looks very good. The fuel pipes look like they're well insulated under this cover. No, I can't really complain. For a car that's like 21 years old now, it hasn't done bad. Yeah. Very cool. Well, sorry guys, there's not a lot I can really say. It all seems to be rather in one piece and looking very nice. I would have liked to have seen, I don't know, maybe oil dripping on the floor. There's not even an oil leak on this engine. It's dry. So, even the gearbox is like bone dry. There's nothing there. I am impressed. I have to say it, I am absolutely impressed. And I was also impressed when I took this car up the road for a drive. How nice it drives. And like I said, the gear changes, they're so nice and smooth. And like positive gear changes. Not like some cars, there's like one hell of a lag as it changes gear. Some of these French automatics. No. I'm glad I got this on the ramp today. It is a nice looking car. Maybe not so much by today's standards, but when you think 20 years ago, it really was something. I bet this was a right head turner. Eye-catching colour, silver. Right, anyway, I better bring it down. I will say one negative here. Them wheels are bloody horrible. They may well suit the car, but I don't like them. Anyway, let's get the car down. I've actually removed the rear wheels because the steering wheel was shaking a little bit, so I decided to take all the wheels off and rebalance them all. But also, there's a slight bit of surface rust on these discs. The discs aren't great, but it's new pads. I suppose by the time the pads are worn out, the disc would probably need replacing anyway. But they've got this bit of rust on them where they've been sitting in the sales lot for so long. So I shall give them a clean up as best I can, and that'll probably do. And by the way, before I put these alley wheels back on, I just give these wheels a little bit of a clean up where they go onto the hub, because they get corroded in here, and that can cause you all sorts of problems. You don't want to get the wheel stuck on your hub. That can be a problem, especially if you get a flat tyre. And I'll put a little bit of grease around in there, just so that it doesn't corrode up again so quickly. Same goes for your hub. Give it a clean up with wire brush where the wheel actually meets onto the hub, and then put a bit of grease around there. That could save you a lot of problems in the long run. There. Okay then, my final thoughts. The Rover 75. For what has been described as the pinnacle of British engineering, the best Rover ever built. I have to say, they ain't done a bad job, if I must say so. I've enjoyed driving this car, and going around it for a 21-year-old car, it's in pretty nice condition. I like the shape, I like the interior, I like the drive. There's certain bits I don't like the radio area. There's some bland bits, the switches and buttons and all that. They're a bit trashy, but overall, it has Alan's seal of approval. I know it's not a Mondeo, guys, because this is like a Ford channel, really, but I thought this is something a little bit different. I just had to look around it. It was interesting. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I guess I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!